Tape Deck Media.
See you at the party, Richter!
Welcome back to See You at the Potty Recta. I am one of your hosts, Joseph Beck Castro. Joining me as always is the handsome acquaintance, Chris Chapman.
Well, hi there.
And the handsome neighbor, Aaron Frescus.
Hello.
Okay, and those are very handsome voices, so thank you. So we're going to be continuing our coverage of Arnold's 1979 comedy western vehicle, The Villain. And we have some more production information, so we're going to throw it over to Aaron. So, Aaron, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Jesus Christ.
You're welcome.
It's Charming Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been happening all day. Like, I need more sleep.
My name's not Joe, Jesus Christ. It's just Joe. Well, Joseph.
It wasn't even the worst one that happened today. Like, I was at the grocery store earlier, and I needed to get some seasoned salmon fillet from the meat department. But then I did that when I ordered it, and I asked the butcher for semen fillet. Yeah. And then I tried to correct myself.
Did he give you like a eyebrow raise?
Well, I tried to correct myself right away, but I was nervous, and I started saying semen. Wait, I mean semen. No, salmon. I was like, fuck. And no, it was one of the guys, thank God, because there's girls that work there too. But like, he thought it was funny, but it was just awkward. And I've been mixing. I don't know. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, so let's get this over with so we can get to the summary. As I mentioned in the production episode, I had a hard time finding anything as far as the actors discussing the movie, except for like quick mentions in their respective books. But the other day I was looking through photos of the film's IMDb page, which I hadn't done yet for some dumb reason. And oddly enough, a few of them were what looked like scanned photos of articles from random newspapers. Like old newspapers when the movie first came out.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's not on most IMDb pages, right?
No, but there's not much on that one. There's a few like alternate posters and then a couple of stills and that. But most of them were old reviews of the movie and definitely not good ones. So I'm not sure why they were uploaded to its IMDb page.
Yeah. But
they all basically say the same thing, that the writing sucks and the gags fall flat. And then most of them crap on the acting as well, except for one review from someone named Seal, C-I-E-L, Seal Lonin of the Roswell Daily Record, who gave the film a poor review, but did give praise to one performance that I did not see coming, because he wrote, quote, "Alas, with the exception of Ann-Margret and a brilliant but brief performance by Mel Tillis as the stuttering telegraph agent, even the old pros can't hold their own." And I was like, really, Mel Tillis? That's the one you're going to praise?
That's the guy you want, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like such a strange choice for someone's idea of a brilliant performance.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't bad, but
it was fine, but it was just like, oh, that guy.
Of all the performances, like, yeah, praise whiskey. Come on.
Yeah. And by the way, his quote unquote praise of Ann-Margret basically boils down to her performance giving him half a chub. With his reason being that she manages to look and sound pretty good despite her sexist dialogue.
Jeez.
So he basically gave the movie the same praise you'd get from like a horny 14-year-old. My favorite parts were the guy who talks funny and the lady with the boobs. Anyway, most of the reviews were also pretty much shit on Kirk Douglas's performance, which I don't really agree with, but
yeah, he was doing fine.
Yeah, but was also kind of a bummer because among those scanned pictures of old reviews were a couple of newspaper articles featuring interviews with Kirk Douglas and Arnold to promote the film, which is literally the only thing I found with them talking about the movie in a positive light.
Huh.
And this is more so for Arnold because he's the only one of the three main stars that has outright talked shit about the movie in his book. But yeah, both the articles are those kind of short little puff piece, like profile type of articles that you'd find in a newspaper next to like the list of movie theater start times and apparently porn shop ads.
Mm-hmm.
We can start with the Arnold one, which was featured in an August 1979 Evening Capital article. Or, sorry, who was featured in an August 1979 Evening Capital article to kind of promote the movie. It mostly seems like it's to promote his upcoming projects. But it gives a short rundown of his film career, pointing out that The Villain was not his first acting role before mentioning Stay Hungry, the movie he did before this, and The Streets of San Francisco, but oddly leaving out Hercules in New York.
Well, that was
for some reason.
Arnold Strong.
That's true. Completely
That's
different.
true.
The article also mentions his bodybuilding books and his bodybuilding career, and we get a quick quote comparing it to acting with Arnold saying, quote, "It was very hard for me at the beginning. The nature of acting is being vulnerable and sensitive to open up your emotions. This is entirely different from competition where you have to maintain your ego and play the leader. You can't allow yourself to be vulnerable." We're then told his next film will be Conan with the author, who, by the way, I'd credit, but his name isn't anywhere in the photo. So, But he brings up the same subject discussed during the promo interview clip that we watched, that Arnold was considered for the role of Superman.
Oh, okay.
So the author notes that he was pretty much seemingly perfect for the role, but Arnold mentions his accent being a problem before kind of brushing it off by saying, quote, I think they made a very good choice in Christopher Reeve. I went to the premiere in Washington and I told them, you did a very good job of filming my life story, which is the same thing he said in the other
joke,
one.
yeah.
Yeah. Also get like a pretty positive quote from Arnold about The Villain, which based on the author's brief description of the film, definitely sounds like he watched it before writing the article, because he described it as, quote, it says Schwarzenegger, 32, is listed in the cast simply as Handsome Stranger. Kirk Douglas plays the title role as Cactus Jack. Again, title role, but...
Yeah, something weird was going on there.
Yeah. Ann-Margret is Charming Jones, and other characters include Nervous Elk, Paul Lind, Damsel in Distress, Ruth Buzzy, and Parody Jones, Strother Martin. It's that kind of movie. Which I was like, okay.
What kind of movie?
That's what it says. That's the end of the quote. It's that kind of movie.
That was probably a mad burn in the 70s.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, Arnold is then quoted as saying, I read the script and thought it was funny. As some of the reviews have pointed out, it's a Roadrunner comedy, but that's what I like about it, the entertaining, loose quality. And that's as positive a quote as we're going to hear from him about the movie,
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense because it obviously, at this point, the critic reviews have already torn the film to shreds.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if any enthusiasm he did have about it is gone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also, he's still young in his career. You got to play the game. You can't be like, oh, man, that movie was a piece of shit. Everybody who worked on it was a fucking moron. And then good luck trying to get another role, Like, maybe post Total Recall he could, but...
Even the article is weird. But anyway, so the last thing I wanted to mention from this article is actually the part that I found most interesting because it's actually a new bit of pre-production info, which puts us up to like 4 pieces of trivia for this film. But so following his doting description of the film, the author sets up the Arnold quote I just read by stating that director Hal Needham was actually the one who cast Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the reason given, but not attributed to anyone, is that Needham's best buddy, Burt Reynolds, was actually Arnold's acting idol. So, quote, this is what is in the article, the connection was ideal, which, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I don't quite know what that means. I mean, I get it, but it's such a vague detail, and I've never actually seen or read anything with Arnold mentioning Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just found it interesting.
I think in the 70s, everybody wanted to be Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. I mean, if I say my acting idol's, Hugh Jackman, no one's going to put me in a fucking musical or me without my shirt killing people. Like, and both of those are not going to go. I mean, you guys can hear my voice. You know that the musical's not going well. But, I guess Hal Needham saw something in Arnold. So, good for him.
I was also curious if Arnold told the author that, or if it was from whoever gives the media facts about the movie, someone from like the studio's marketing department or whatever.
Yeah, true.
And anyway, so the whole article, like I said, the whole article.
Aaron's doing his best Mel Tillis impression.
Yeah,
so.
It's actually my favorite character too. Anyway, the whole article is a bit strange because it came out a month after The Villain was released, and while it has nothing negative to say about the film, it also doesn't really contain any praise for it either.
Yeah.
Beyond like Arnold mentioning that he thought the script was funny. And I guess that makes sense, like I said, considering the reviews it received, but it also makes the article featuring Kirk Douglas kind of a bummer. Because it was published Christmas Eve 1978, 7 months before the movie was released, and definitely plays up the fact that The Villain will be his first comedic role. and boy, oh boy, does it have a drastically different tone than the last article. And I'm going to apologize in advance for any sort of like possible heartbreak you may feel after you find out exactly how excited Kirk Douglas was about his first shot at a comedy.
Oh, no.
With author Vernon Scott describing a jovial Kirk Douglas and writing, quote, "He grinned broadly and then laughed. He was the picture of a kid with a new toy." The author then quotes Kirk Douglas, who says, "I've never had so much fun in my life. I've been in this business for more than 30 years, and I've never come close to playing a comedy before." He continues saying, quote, "People have asked me over the years to do comedy, but nothing really materialized. When the villain came along, I jumped at the chance to play a character who is as wild as a guy can get." He then shows that he has at least a somewhat decent grasp on comedy, or how it works, rather, when he says, quote, "Whether it's comedy or drama, you still play a character. You've got to make the character believable to the audience. It's impossible to play the role for laughs. The comedy comes from the events in which an outrageous man like Cactus Jack finds himself." Which is definitely true for his like Wile E. Coyote type role, where the humor is completely dependent on like the gag execution or whatever. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the article closes with yet another gut-wrenching quote, with Kirk Douglas saying, quote, "If this film is a hit, it will enable me to get the kind of roles I've never done before." Yeah. "There's some danger in taking on an entirely new characterization, but that's the real challenge, not playing things safe. I'm letting it all go, hoping audiences will want Cactus Jack to succeed in all his crazy schemes. If I can do that, then I've met the challenge. No actor can hope to do more than that." End quote, and ouch.
Damn.
Which just sucks because I thought his performance was fine. He did the best job he possibly could with the material provided.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also not like his career was really probably hurting after this. He just didn't get to do like comedy. He didn't get to broaden his range like he wanted to.
Yeah. It sucks that this was his first shot at comedy.
Yeah.
And I'd say if you want to see him in a better written comedy, check out the 1994 film Greedy, which also stars Michael J. Fox and Phil Hartman, and is pretty fun.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Or even better, find out about how he created Itchy the Mouse in the Simpsons Season 7 episode titled The Day the Violence Died.
Good
that
episode.
one's also good too. Yeah. That's all I know him as far as like that he's in as far as comedy. But
wait, no, that was Chester J. Lampwick. That's right.
Oh shit.
Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know.
Okay.
He bought like a gold car or something.
Yeah, he crashed his golden rocket car.
Really?
No, I don't think he crashed it, but
isn't that what he buys?
Like he buys like a solid gold mansion and a solid gold rocket car.
Okay.
Nice. So yeah, anyway, that's the stuff I had that I wanted to show you guys. So I guess let's throw it to Chris to get the summary going.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right. So we're doing The Villain, which is starring Kirk Douglas and Ann-Margret. I have no idea who Ann-Margret is, as we went over before, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's see. This movie begins as so many Westerns do, with old-timey names over many, many, many sweeping shots of the American plains. I have a question like almost immediately, which is, did they rename this movie and then forget to redo the credits?
Wait, what did it say?
It doesn't say The Villain anywhere in the opening credits. It says the names of the 3 stars, and then it says Cactus Jack, which is the name of Kirk Douglas's character.
So the movie was renamed this might be from a different country, because it was renamed, I think, for Australia or something like that.
It was renamed Cactus Jack?
It was renamed Cactus Jack, yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is just like a different cut of the movie.
Yeah, so it might be, maybe there's a better cut out there that's like awesome.
They just gave the Australians the shitty version?
Yeah.
Where they added all the fart noises and the boings.
Yeah, exactly. Like bunch of convicts, they're getting this. But it's like some old man who made the decision. He's like, fuck them.
You know what's funny? When I saw this, I thought that there was like a famous guy. You know, there's Wolfman Jack.
Yeah.
Like Cactus Jack was a famous guy. And he was just also in this movie. So there's a scene later when he was talking to the banker guy, and he's like, what's your name? And he kind of like smirks. I thought like the guy, the banker guy was played by the guy named Cactus Jack, and then like, Kirk Douglas's character is named Cactus Jack, so it's kind of like inside joke there.
I thought the exact same thing. I thought he was like an old-timey Western actor, like fucking
Cactus
Jack.
Jack?
What's his name? Yeah, but what's
John
the name
Wayne?
of that real actor? No. Fuck, he's
Which
in
one?
Blazing Saddles. He's got a funny
I haven't
voice.
seen that. Oh, the guy that talks like.
Yeah.
Is it the guy
What
from
in the wide world of sports?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's-
that guy.
Wait, is it the guy from? He's in Back to the Future 3, right?
That guy. Yeah, he's in that too.
I don't know his name, but I know you're talking about.
He has like he has a funny like old timey western sound.
Yeah, he does like
Slim Pickens.
yeah.
Sorry,
Is that his real name?
Slim Pickens is the name of an actor.
Well, the
yes.
name, like, yes, okay.
It's like at least a stage name. I thought
Well,
Cactus Jack was like a Slim Pickens.
Darn it,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He does he does like the voice on like the Fox and the Hound or something like that.
He does a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but
he's the voice of like the Bullets and Roger Rabbit and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Anyway,
this music is very Bonanza-y, I think. I realized after I wrote that down that I've never actually seen Bonanza. So.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of like, it's pretty standard Western music, I think. It's not bad.
It's got some Roger Miller vibes to it. And for those that don't know, he plays the rooster on, singing rooster on Robin Hood, the Disney animated movie.
Not sure you can say Rockadoodle.
Yeah, so did I.
And he does like King of the Road, which a lot of people might know.
Okay.
But he's awesome. And also, I don't know, I one of my notes for this is this music slaps. So
I kind of like the music, like honestly.
yeah, it's good.
The first time around, I was like, this shit is corny as fuck. But then, like, after like the third time I watched it, I was like, man, I love this. What's her name? What's her name? Ann-Margret's character. Like, he keeps singing her name. Yeah, Charming. Whatever that song.
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Like, oh, man.
Her theme song's pretty good.
And I am so happy that they don't do that with movies anymore, where they run a big portion of the credits at the beginning, because that used to bore the shit out of me when I was a kid. I'm like, oh my god, this like 10 minutes, like Gone with the Wind or like Wizard of Oz, stuff like that. I'm like, ugh.
Jesus. I just have, so usually I'll leave the names and the credit stuff to Joe. I have just one I want to mention. There is one name in particular of note, Bob Mackey, a costume designer who made outfits so trashy that they put his name right up front after the actors, but before the writer or director. He is credited as being the person responsible for Ann-Margret's wardrobe and costumes.
Nice. That name sounds familiar.
Who, Bob Mackey?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's Anthony Mackie's dad.
Oh, okay. Now that's what
He's
it is.
a Nepo baby as well. So.
All right. So from here, we meet Kirk Douglas as Cactus Jack as he meticulously plans a daring train robbery and then falls flat on his face. I like this first bit. Like when I first saw this, I laughed out loud. I was like, if they didn't have the fart sound in here, this would legit be like a funny beat because they played it real serious up to this point.
Where was the fart sound?
When he falls and hits the ground.
There's like he fell in shit or something like that.
I thought that's what happened. I thought there was cow shit on the train tracks. I was like, why is there so much cow shit on the train tracks? But it was just dirt.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely laughed at him missing that train in the first couple of watches, but then on the third one, I noticed something that I think ends up being kind of a problem for the entire movie is that the stunt shots are way too long.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like it was shot by a stuntman.
Yeah. And you know what's funny though is that we'll get to this later, but I think some of the shots are not well edited.
Nope.
Like you see the seams on a lot of the stunts. So
we'll get to that later for sure.
So it's like he's a good stuntman. Like he's an extremely famous stuntman, obviously, but like maybe not the best director or editor.
or just didn't provide the editor with enough material to cut something that was better than what we saw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's definitely not the guy from John Wick.
Yeah.
Is that guy a good editor?
Well,
No, because
no, he was a stuntman.
Yeah.
Who?
Oh, really?
Who have turned out to be pretty decent, like action directors.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway.
All right. So moving on, now Jack rides into town on his very sassy horse, Whiskey, where he makes a bank teller shit his pants and fails to rob the safe, and then proceeds to get himself thrown in jail.
That horse that plays Whiskey is without a doubt my favorite character in this movie.
This is the best character in the movie, and possibly the best actor.
Yeah, I was gonna say that he's like a regular old Mr. Ed Harris.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. I thought that one was a banger. It's all downhill from here.
You can coast on that for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave, and then you guys can like, edit in a couple chuckles from me, and then be good.
When you thought of that, were you like, and then you tell Laura, and she's like, That's not
Who's
good.
Ed Harris?
Yeah.
Who's Mr. Ed? And who's
That's
Ed
exactly what
Harris?
Eric would say too. Either that or a sigh with like, no,
Yeah.
please don't say that.
Please stop talking to me.
No, Laura would be ashamed that she laughed. Probably.
That's exactly how Eric would be. That was the sigh.
Yeah. So when he like rolls up there, I'm like, damn, he sounds so much like somebody familiar. Like I can't remember his name.
Yeah, his son, Michael Douglas.
Michael. Yeah.
No. It's the one guy. He's like from a famous acting family.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas.
No,
His kid's
like
Michael
he's in that
Douglas.
movie with like a super strong superhero. Like gets all depressed and like drinks a lot. Becomes like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I don't know what movie you're talking about. I'm gonna assume Michael Douglas is in it, but I don't know what you're talking about.
That he's in that movie with like they're all wearing suits and selling stuff in the big city that has that one guy, James Cameron in it.
James Cameron. Who is James Cameron?
Glenn Carey, Glenn Ross.
No. They both got their big he got his big break in that show with like a California city in the name.
Streets of San Francisco.
He won an Academy Award. Will Smith, that's who it is.
Oh,
That's who he sounds like.
Exactly like Will Smith.
yeah. All right. Especially when he was like, parents just don't understand. That's what happens when I don't write stuff down. You get that. Okay, wait. Are you moving on to the next scene? Or are you still?
I have one more thing to say about the
Okay.
bank teller, which is just that I really hope that the script did not call for the bank teller to be drunk.
Man,
I was really hoping he just showed up to set that way.
yes, because between that bank teller drunkenly whispering, "The sheriff's coming,"
Yeah.
and Kirk Douglas's ear,
Yeah.
and Kirk Douglas using that how-to guide for bad guys book that he has
Yep.
to figure out how to open the safe. This movie started off with some promise,
I
and some
think-
potential, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like,
think the
all right.
beginning of this movie is pretty good, and there's some decent jokes later on, but yeah.
the whole what I just said was immediately like, I'm like, ugh. When he tries to jump through the window but hits the bars, like it was like the first of many very poorly executed Looney Tunes inspired sight gags, because it just
That one
It's
didn't
just-
bother me really.
Yeah, I chuckled at that one.
Yeah, that one was fine to me.
I just didn't expect the bars to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
maybe it was because I went in this knowing that it's supposed to be like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Maybe
And
I didn't
so
realize
I
that
was
till like
like-
halfway through.
I was waiting for a dong, and then him like being like like that. Like it's
Sure.
it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, ugh, nope, missed out. No, that's yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So next we move on to meet Arnold as Handsome Stranger. Yes, that's his name, Handsome Stranger. And watch as he attempts to murder an old lady by forcing her to cross the street. It's just like in reality, the scene is like he's a super nice guy, but he's kind of dumb. So he's like trying to help her cross the street, but it's a really busy street and she almost dies. But like, I don't know this guy's nice yet. It kind of seems like he's trying to kill her.
It does kind of seem like
Like, I don't know.
that. If you look at it that way, yeah.
And then from there, we meet Parody Jones and his extremely horny daughter, Charming Jones, as played by Ann-Margret.
Real quick, did you look up his name or did it say it?
No,
his name?
it said his name a couple times. I mean,
Okay.
obviously, I had to watch it like 3 times, but yeah,
Yeah,
it said his name
Okay.
a couple times.
yeah. I knew it was his name, but only because I was looking at the credits.
Yeah, I think it was in the opening credits. I think it said
Oh, okay.
Ann Blank as Parody Jones. So, but anyway,
I believe that is true.
so Parody sends his daughter Charming to Snake's End to retrieve some money from Avery Simpson and bring it back so they can do some silver mining. And my only note for this scene is that is one horny lady.
Yep. She's basically like me after a long night of drinking. Mad thirsty.
Oh man. Ann-Margret is one pretty lady.
Sure,
Like
absolutely.
if I wasn't already in a relationship, I would definitely have a crush on her. But I made a commitment to Kelly Preston and I'm sticking to it. All right?
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. We go now, after we meet Charming, we go back to Arnold, who goes to the telegram office to find that he has been hired by Mr. Jones to escort Charming and the money back to him. And then Arnold goes to the saloon to get a meal. And the post office guy who gives out the telegram, his character is baffling to me.
Yes.
Like I feel like the direction he was given was like, hey, can you like stretch it out, like really pad out the movie's runtime because like we are running short.
Again, a biggest issue with the movie is how poorly executed comedy bits are. The stuttering, because he's stuttering.
I forgot to mention. So he's like he's got a real severe stutter. So there are long silences during the conversation where he's just trying to talk. And here's the thing: it's actually a really good performance.
Mm-hmm.
He's like doing a damn good job at the stuttering part.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work. Like the scene goes on for way too long, and there's
flat.
nothing funny about it. Like the only funny part is there's a line where he goes like, Arnold talks to him. He takes a second to say, "You talk funny." Like it takes him a minute because he's got stuttering, and then Arnold replies, "Easy for you to say." And I was like, okay, that's like a joke.
I didn't even notice that one.
I was like, that's a joke. That's got layers to it, sure. But like, aside from that, it was awful.
I laughed at when he starts singing Mrs. Jones is coming on the evening train.
Oh yeah.
Like that's I laughed when he
funny.
did that.
Sure.
But it's not a good bit.
No, it's not.
And like by not good, I mean it's just not funny.
Yeah.
Like it's a very, they gave the character a very cartoony trait.
Yeah.
Especially with him having to like ring the bell to stop from stuttering.
Yeah.
But it just falls completely flat. Like it just isn't executed correctly.
Again, I think it's like a speech impediment is fine, but like the weird long sections of silence where he like can't talk. Like it's like borderline. I kind of feel bad for him. Like
that's exactly what my note says.
Because it's like a real stutter, and I'm like, I don't. Yeah. This isn't funny.
It's not like,
this is like a disability, man.
Yeah, like Jimmy from South Park.
Yeah, I was like,
it's not like that where you're like, where I don't know. It's
I don't know.
Because theirs is exaggerated.
Yeah,
in South Park enough to where it's funny. His actually seems like he's struggling.
Yeah, and the thing they do in South Park, I don't think is like a real speech impediment. Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's somebody out there who has that, but I feel like they're just making that shit up. And this sounds like a real person who has a stuttering problem. I don't know. Anyway,
I think it was just there to like hand wave
Arnold's voice.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like it was just like a rash decision that got drawn out way too long.
Or maybe they hired this guy and he did it because he killed it in the audition and they didn't know, like but
got
when
a
he
wicked
got
case
to
of stage fright.
Exactly. But he started stuttering and the director was just too nice. Like he's like, too nice to, and he like finishes his take and he's like, how was that? He's like, it was good, but let's try it one more time. And that was the best take they got.
I like to think somebody behind the scenes was like, dude, if we're gonna let Schwarzenegger be in this movie, we can't kick this guy out. Like, we can't fire this guy.
Or he gave them shit about it. He's like,
exactly.
You're worried about the way I talk?
Yeah. I can't even understand that motherfucker. Yeah.
Which I don't have written down, but man, he has made great strides from, what was that, 10 years before? Where he could barely talk when we watched Hercules in New York? Like barely.
That's true. From 69 to 79. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was
definitely
like,
a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
So now on Arnold's way to the saloon, he sees that he has successfully injured that old lady from before. Because she had to like cross the street back to the side she was originally on, and apparently she got hit then. And so now she's being carried on a stretcher up to the doctor.
What was the point of...
There's multiple things. I mean, look, that establishes that his character is obliviously dumb.
It's a doofus.
Yeah, that's fine. But there's a couple things that just don't make any sense in this movie.
Well, and it seems like anytime that happens, well, not every time, but with his character, it's always an attempt to make him seem like just to try to show that he's kind of dumb.
Yeah. It's one of 3 jokes that the movie has. Yes.
They don't do it very well.
No. Also, like,
by very well, I mean not at all.
Yeah. Let's see. So after that, we go to the local jail where bank owner Avery Simpson, like the guy who owns the bank that got blown up by Kirk Douglas, lets him out of prison in exchange for a favor. Like he doesn't pay bail, right? He just lets him out.
I don't. Yeah, because I think he like stops the sheriff or whoever from doing anything as he walks out of jail.
So this guy must like basically own the town, but yeah, he's just some rich dude.
Yeah, I mean, shit, what's changed, right? But there was a sign on the front of the sheriff's desk that said sheriff and had like the first name crossed out and the second name
Oh,
crossed
really?
out.
I didn't even notice
I
that.
didn't
Third
notice
name?
that. It's a good
So
joke.
maybe
Yeah.
that was like,
That's a solid joke, actually.
Yeah. The best jokes in this movie are definitely between Kirk Douglas and
Mhm.
Whiskey.
Yes. So there's a part
The
where
horse.
like basically Avery Simpson
Oh, such a
wants Jack to steal the money from Miss Charming because then he will own her dad's silver mine. And so like Kirk Douglas, he like offers that to Kirk
He's
Douglas.
like him and Han over it though.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know
Yeah.
about it. But then he looks over towards his cell window, which goes outside, and he sees the horse, and the horse is like, yeah, do it. Like
Yeah, the
nodding, like
Whiskey's-
do it. And he's like, all right, let's do it. I'm like,
It's great. I like whenever he winks at the horse and the horse winks back, or like he talks to the horse and the horse reacts. I don't know. That's just
They do a great job of making the relationship between Kirk Douglas and Whiskey feel like how it would be in a cartoon.
Oh yeah. And Kirk Douglas's like natural charisma carries that.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Because it's always like with the animation, there's usually like a animal sidekick, like the Grinch's dog or like a Boo from
Yeah, that's
Aladdin.
true. That's
It especially happens when the character is like a bumbling villain, like Kirk Douglas's character is,
Mhm.
because then they'll usually have like a sentient, sassy animal sidekick that's just almost always smarter than the villain,
Yeah.
which is one thing they did super well in this.
Yeah, that's a solid
with how they
comedy
portrayed,
beat, but-
like that horse killed it.
Yeah. And then the only other thing I thought was weird in this scene is like he gives him an advance on his reward money and it's a single coin that he says is $20. And I'm like, this is the Old West. Why would you have a $20 coin? I don't know. That was just weird to me. So Jack, Kirk Douglas, Cactus Jack, agrees, then heads to the saloon to get drunk, where we shift our focus over to Arnold, who gets his nice steak dinner stolen by the telegram guy after he hurries off to meet Charming at the train station.
That whiskey joke is pretty good. When he walks in the saloon, is like whiskey, like basically announcing to the room that he wants a whiskey, and the horse like
The horse comes in
comes
and
charging
again,
through the
I
doors.
think it's all in the horse's performance. I think
Exactly.
I think the joke is
Exactly.
fine, but the horse like going in and then slowly backing out was very good.
That horse has the best comedic timing of anybody in this movie.
performance?
You're not wrong.
Horsemen? No. Man, it's not
Horsemen.
there.
Performance
Um,
is probably not what you want to go with.
I think this saloon scene actually has like the best jokes of the movie, and you just like brushed over them. Sorry, that sounded very accusatory, but so probably the funniest thing to me is when he just walks in and he grabs that guy sitting at the bar and just chucks him away.
I
don't know
rewound that
why.
like 4 times because I was like, is that a child? Like, how is he picking that guy up so easily? Like, Kirk Douglas does
We'll get to that in the names.
Okay. Kirk Douglas does not strike me as a huge dude, but he fucking throws that guy across the bar. But yes, that was very funny.
Yeah, then he gets the shot of whiskey and just pours it directly into his eye for
Yeah,
some reason.
That was a good
what-
joke. No, that's
How
just
is that a good joke?
because it just shows he's a tough guy. It's like that's
Is
the
that what it's
same as
supposed to
like
show?
yeah, that's the same as like splashing water in his eyes, but for him he uses fucking whiskey to do it.
I did not understand that. I was like, did that used to be a thing? Because if it was
No.
a joke, I didn't get it. The only thing I could think of was like, oh, maybe that was like a play on that. Like the drink, the eye opener. I was like, oh, okay. Like I was like, no, okay.
No, I think it's just like he's a real tough Western dude who like
Okay.
yeah. Whiskey's like water to him.
I just thought it was absurd because you expected him to put it in
Yeah,
his mouth
yeah.
and he put another hole in his face. You're like, oh man, the misdirect, amazing.
But it's not set up at all. Like, sorry, my biggest problem with this movie is the comedy stuff. To where I'm like, it's a
comedy from the 70s. I feel this way about a lot of comedies from the 70s. Like,
yeah, that's why I don't watch comedies from the 70s. Maybe.
Yeah. Also, when he's just like uppercuts the guy, he's like, that's an uppercut. I don't know
yeah,
why. I just thought that was also
that was funny.
Funny.
It's definitely like
and then
It's just kind of
That
out of
scene-
nowhere.
yeah.
yeah, it was just unexpected.
Yeah.
And then that scene where Arnold's like eating, you can see Cactus Jack in the background grabbing all the whiskey bottles laying around.
He's stealing
Oh, really?
whiskey bottles from everyone on his way. Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. My only other thing was I get that the telegram the Western Union guy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Supposed to be like that silly Looney Tunes character, but like I said before, they did not push it far enough towards like the zany tone
Yeah.
that the cartoons have. Because I think that would have helped if it would have.
I think
made
this entire movie is very zany, he's giving kind of a drier performance.
Yeah.
And so it like doesn't match. Again, it's a good performance. It's just it does not belong in this movie.
This entire movie is not like they didn't push it enough. The whole movie, to make it a cartoon. Anyway, also they sure went all in on that boot spur sound effect.
Of course they did. Yeah.
Yes, that was driving me crazy.
Because I don't think there's a Kirk Douglas scene without it, and it's just loud enough to be distracting. For like, just notice like ching, 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 ching. And I didn't notice it the first time because I was drinking until the very end. And I'm like, wait, has that been playing the whole time? And Eric was like, yes.
They love sound effects in this movie. They
But then the second time I watched it, I was
the Foley work in this movie is very important to them.
The second time I watched it, I was like, holy shit, his spurs are going every single time he's walking.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got spurs that jingle, jangle, jingle. Nobody?
I don't know.
No.
Nobody played Fallout New Vegas?
Nope.
Well,
Sorry.
that's a song in it, and that song's actually not about, I mean, spurs that jingle, jangle is like, I'm not getting married. I'm a single man. I'm going to go smash my way through the West.
Are the spurs his balls?
Possibly. When I played cards in Washington and somebody would do like make a big hand, there was this one old dude who'd be like, sing that, but replace spurs with balls.
Wait, is that
clever?
Is that a like from the game, like originally, or is it like an old song?
No, it's like a old timey.
Oh, okay.
Old Western song.
Fallout is just famous for using a lot of.
Because I was like, whoa, that old dude played Fallout.
I wish.
Yeah. All right. So now we go to the train station where Charming arrives and shoves her double entendres at the oblivious Arnold. And as they make their way through town, Arnold tells the story of how he tried to do a good deed by stopping what he thought were runaway horses on the streets of Denver. But it turns out that the horses were charging through the streets because they belonged to the fire department and were on their way to put out a fire at the local house of ill repute. So when it burned down, a bunch of furiously horny dudes beat the crap out of him. And if you're confused, so the fuck am I. Why is this here? Why the fuck is this story here? And why did it have to be so fucking confusing? It's so sweaty to get to the punchline of this joke.
I don't know. I liked like that. It was funny to me, but I saw it coming from a mile away because they did not show who he was chasing. Of course. I wasn't sure what the eventual payoff was going to be for it, but like I think it was still effective. It comes out of nowhere,
I don't know.
But like it was one of the better setups for a joke because it actually had a setup. But it was, unlike most of the stuff.
But the setup was so long for the punchline being. It
was long.
He stopped the wrong horses, or like he didn't need to stop the horse. I don't know.
It was long, but I drank just enough when I was watching it where I was like, oh man, this is going to be good. And then it was a horse and fire and people dying. And I was like, oh yes.
I mean, it serves the plot, guys. Like, come on.
The very complicated plot.
It shows that Arnold is like a misguided, but good-hearted man.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
which we already didn't do with the lady helping across the street.
Yeah. I mean, you guys didn't get that, so I'm glad we had this scene to fucking spell it out for you chuckle fucks. Also, it shows the reason why he is helping Perry Jones.
I was about to say that. So after he gets the crap beat out of him, Charming's dad saved him and nursed him back to health, and so now he owes like a fucking life debt to Mr. Jones, and that's why he's doing this. Because I don't think he's getting paid. Like, I think Verity Jones just sent him a letter and was like, you have to do this. Yeah.
I wonder what that old drunk man, because I'm assuming he's a drunk, her dad, said to get those horny sons of bitches to stop beating him up.
That's true. I have no idea. Maybe he just waited until they left.
Maybe he just offered his daughter up.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe he just walked in there with Charity. Yeah. And,
they got distracted.
What?
Yeah.
Also, another inclusion I don't understand is when Arnold says he's named after his dad, but then mentions that he never met him.
He's never met his dad.
And I felt like
you guys don't get that?
No. Okay. So I thought it was setting up a plot point that there's no payoff for. Is it a joke I don't get?
You know what I think?
A stranger?
You know what I think? I think at this point I have a note that just says, man, they think these jokes are a comedy, or they think these names are a joke goldmine. Like, I feel like that's all this is like they think these names are hilarious.
I think that's a well-constructed joke because obviously because if you're Arnold's mom, right? And he's like, who's my dad? He's like, oh, it was just some handsome stranger. Like he came in and knocked her up and then left. He was just some random guy. And then he was named after his dad.
All right.
Okay.
His dad was just a handsome stranger.
All right. Yeah,
I guess
that makes sense. And usually when you have to explain a joke, it makes it funnier. So,
Well, I got it, and I'm a fucking idiot.
I
but
did
apparently,
get it.
like,
Maybe I'm just slow. No, I didn't get that.
No,
so
I
I'm
did.
slow.
I did get
you guys
that.
wouldn't know comedy if it fucking tapped you in the sack. All right.
I thought of that because it was like, okay, well, his name is Stranger, and it was like, okay, but there's no like, you need to like dumb shit down for people like that. It's very.
I think when you surround that joke by a bunch of really dumb, obvious jokes, I'm just not expecting for the joke to be that deep. I don't know. The only other thing I wanted to say about this scene is like the scene where Arnold basically has a monologue and he's telling the story about how like what happened in Denver is like, I think this is another situation like Hercules where given like 5 or 6 more years, if he's deep in the 80s and a little better at acting, he probably could have done way more with this role. Like, I don't know. I just think this movie ends up being much better if he can play less like, I don't know. I feel like he's not given much in this movie.
I think he does a good job.
He does
like,
fine, but I'm just saying like this is not like
for what he was
comedy
given.
Arnold.
It's it's also not written well. So like he's working, like he does a great job for what he was given because he plays a great doofus. Like between this, like a innocent doofus between this and Hercules and Rick sort of, but twins just perfect. But that was also better writing too. So
yeah, it was.
If this was written better,
if he had twins chops at this time, I think this could have been better. Is all I'm saying. Yeah. So as Arnold and Charming are talking, Avery Simpson sees them and goes to warn Jack that the job might be tougher than anticipated. But the drunk Jack is very confident and just goes back to his bed, where he. Look, I'm not going to mince words. Was he fucking that pig?
I have no idea. At the end of the scene, Kirk Douglas notices something. He notices there's something in his bed with him, but it just ends up being a pig wearing a bow, which probably would have been a good joke if they'd bothered to set it up.
Well, see, another thing you guys don't get. All right, so
pigs are hot.
Yes. I mean, hey, us Jews, we're not allowed to eat them, but I didn't say anything else about it.
That's somehow more kosher than eating them.
Yeah. But no, I mean, where does ham come from? Pigs. What's the director's name? David Needs Ham? I mean, it's right there, guys. Jeez. Like, it's a meta commentary.
He's got you there. That's a
airtight
case.
That I mean, I'm sure that probably like was a fucking knee buster in 1979.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, they put that on screen.
I don't know.
Like he thought it was a chick, but it was a pig.
Yeah.
But now it's just like okay.
But if they would have taken a second to show him talking to a woman in the bar, it would have set it up.
Yeah.
Like if they would have taken
or even that there was someone in the bed before he went to go reveal who it was. Yeah.
But even in the background, like of him, like to where when Joe noticed that he was still in the whiskey bottles, if he was talking to one of the,
grabbed a woman too,
yeah, exactly. If he was like stops and starts talking, anything to set it up, but no setup whatsoever.
But anyway, I'm just worried about the pig. All right.
I wasn't mad that he fucked a pig. I was mad that it was a guy pig. You know what? Fuck that. That's disgusting. It was a male pig. Anyway, okay. I'll decide if I'm going to leave that in or not.
Sorry. I was trying to think of like an Adam and Eve, Adam and Steve joke, and I couldn't think of one. I got as far as Adam and Babe, and I was like, no, this isn't going anywhere. Anyway. Okay. So Arnold and Charming leave with the money, and then Jack is getting ready to bushwhack them. The thing I'm confused about is after Arnold and Charming leave, they spend an extra 15 seconds focusing on a wedding wagon.
Yeah.
That I just don't understand. It's just a wagon with a new like bride and groom in it that says just married on it. And I was like, is that the joke? Is that the whole joke? Just that they're doing the thing we do now back then? Like, I don't understand.
Once again, you guys are missing the point.
Yes, I'm dumb. Please explain it to me. and then I will laugh.
I got absolutely nothing. I was just fucking with you on that one.
I was like,
doesn't
what
make
the
any
fuck?
sense.
All right. So here's where the movie really kicks into gears, or at least where my summary kicks into gear because I have to pay way less attention now. The rest of this movie, we are just going to repeat the same 2 jokes ad infinitum. The jokes are A, Jack pulls some Wile E. Coyote shit and fucks it up, and B, Arnold is oblivious to Charming's desperate attempts to fuck his brains out.
Yeah, Arnold is in this movie is basically me as I was back in the day.
All the way up through 16th grade. Yes.
Yeah. Until like 40th grade. By grade, I mean year. But yeah.
I would say that there's a third joke, except that the Native American stuff just isn't really that funny. Like, there's a couple of times where I chuckled at it, but for the most part, it's just not funny. So, like they're not even jokes. I don't know. So now I'm just going to run down the list of Jack's schemes real quick. Like I said, he just pulls a bunch of Wile E. Coyote versus Roadrunner style schemes, and I'm just going to run through them, and we can talk about them. The first one is jumping in front of the wagon to scare them with his pistol, but he's accidentally out of ammo and just gets dragged behind the wagon. And this is like probably the worst edited stunt in the movie.
Yep.
Because he's getting dragged by the wagon. His boot spurs
like catching dirt or something.
Dirt. Yeah, they catch in the dirt. So his suspended pants get stopped while he keeps going and like stretch out like bungee cords. He eventually gets either lets go or gets ripped off the wagon and goes flying back
like
towards
slingshots.
Slingshots back towards his pants. And that's the thing. And like, I'm of 2 minds about this because like, one, it was just a really bad edit where you can totally see him go past his pants before they cut away.
Yes.
And like, so there's that. But then like, I also find that kind of charming because it's like, there's still a quality that makes them kind of fun to watch because you can literally see that it's all super practical. It's like they did that. They put somebody in a slingshot and then dragged them along the ground. And it's like, I don't know. I find that like mildly charming that they actually hired people to dive off cliffs or get crushed or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, or get your balls fucking scraped up by doing that stunt. Because good Lord.
Yeah, I guess I don't.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
But
that's
mostly
just
because
like
I'm like looking at it from the like a animated cartoon, and you can I don't know.
Yes.
Like that one wasn't as bad, but I'm just like if it wasn't supposed to be like apparently not a big Hollywood movie, but like a big Hollywood movie, I'd be like okay. But it was just done. I don't know. You see him sliding across the dirt, and then suddenly it cuts to him in his pants.
Yeah,
and it was just like bad, poorly edited. I don't know.
Again, if they had just edited it better, where you don't see him slide past his pants and then he's magically in his pants, then it would have been better. But anyway, yeah. The next stunt is he lowers himself down a cliff, but he anchors himself to a boulder, but then it accidentally rolls off the cliff and lands on him and he gets crushed. And it was like, at this point I was like, oh, okay, so this is literally just going to be Roadrunner versus Coyote. And I was like, man, they should have given Kirk Douglas signs to hold up like he's the fucking coyote.
That would have been awesome.
I would have loved that, but yeah.
Yes. I was confused. First of all, I didn't understand the dialogue about when like Arnold and Ann-Margret are passing through Road Agent's Bend without anything happening. I
think it's because something did happen. Like Michael Douglas, they ran over Michael Douglas and he got caught in the wagon. And then they were like, wow, I can't believe we got away from the town and nobody tried to steal all our money. But somebody did. I think that was.
And then I was also confused the first time I saw the boulder falling gag, mostly because it was so obvious that it fell in front of him.
Yeah.
Like, why not just use a dummy and drop the boulder on it? Dummies are funny, and there's no way it could have looked worse than what they shot.
Yeah.
Like, you could have also shot it from above to where, like, I don't know.
The first time I thought that was a more complicated, like, scheme. I thought he was trying to drop the boulder on them, but it turns out he was literally just using it to lower himself down, and then it...
Oh, wait, was he? I thought he was trying...
No, I think he was just... Like, I went back and watched it, like, 4 times. I think he's literally just using it as an anchor. Oh, and then he gets to the bottom and it accidentally rolls on him.
Oh, okay.
I think there's another scene where he tries.
Yeah, there's a later.
Yeah, there's another scene with the boulder too. It's a funny, like, it would have been.
It's like everything from here on out just like goes in and out for me. Like certain gags work and a lot of it doesn't for me.
Yeah,
like
for
there are a few gags here and there that work. The next one, he pretends to be a reverend on the side of the road, and in the process of like proselytizing to Arnold, gets both of his guns. Doesn't account for Arnold's 7-shot 6-shooter, and so accidentally fires off a bullet, scares his horses, and gets dragged away. that's it's like a weird amount of setup for a joke, but this is like one of my favorite jokes of the movie, which is after all the Reverend stuff and he gets dragged away, Arnold gets back on the wagon and goes, I wish he hadn't left so soon. I really think he could have helped me. Which is just, it's really funny because Arnold is like this super pious do-gooder. Yeah. And he's like, he was totally got by Kirk Douglas.
And it's like he's basically Spinal Tap stole their Amps going to 11 joke from Arnold in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why have a 6-shooter when you have a 7-shooter?
Yeah, that's true. It was the same joke.
That's the other thing that like killed me is Ann-Margret's performance in that part where he shows her the gun. He's like, I had it specially made. It's a 7-shot 6-shooter. And she's looking at it for a minute and then she goes, why? And she delivers it in the most like deadpan, like, you're a fucking moron voice. I just couldn't stop laughing. And then he answers, he's like, nobody asked me that before. That was really fucking funny to me. And you're right.
Yeah, there was, I don't know. Yeah, fine.
Again, like the gag, like there are a couple of the gags got me. Overall, it was like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
He then sets up a tripwire that's obviously not going to work and gets dragged again.
On the saddle. It was a great choice on the use of a slide whistle when he's being dragged on the saddle. I was like, oh my God. I don't know why. I probably started drinking again, but I was like, ooh, that slide whistle got me.
Yeah. He tries to spy on Charming while she bathes and falls off a cliff, which, again, I just like that they hired an actual diver to dive off a cliff.
Sure.
That was interesting.
So first off, I don't understand the point of the dialogue about the North Star. Is it just another example from the writers to show that Arnold's dumb?
Yeah, Arnold's dumb.
Okay.
Arnold's dumb, and she is smarter and more like savvy than he is.
Okay. So secondly, I really, like I said, I really would have wished, or really wish that Arnold would have played more innocent doofuses in his career because he does it so well. Like, it sucks that he can't really do it anymore because it'll come off less like a carefree doofus and more like a senior citizen exhibiting early signs of dementia. But like, it would be cool that if he did it more than the 2 times I think so far that we've seen. I don't think there's another one.
I mean, if you count
Hercules. Or 3, I guess. 3.
3, yeah.
And then lastly, Kirk Douglas falling off the cliff or the stunt guy. This is where I figured out my problem. What my problem is with a lot of the cartoon-inspired gags, they spend, like I said, way too long on the shot of the stunt actor falling off the cliff. And slow it down on top of that, which is fine, but not for the tone that they're trying to go for. Everything with cartoons is quick. It's like you see him, because you see him pause at the top like a cartoon.
Yeah. Like gravity is paused until he realizes what has gone wrong. Yes.
But then, like, it's, I don't know. I'm being way too critical with that like aspect.
Again, it's just like they hired the stunt guy, they did the shot, they wanted to use it. Like that's why they did that.
Oh,
they hired an actual
sure.
cliff diver to dive off the cliff, so they wanted to use the shot. Which I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, also like sometimes when I'm trying to watch a movie, I'm like, man, I just want to watch something that's like a tight 90 minutes. Like that's like the minimum. And this one's like
87
it's not even a tight
or something.
80.
Yeah.
It's like 80 minutes, but you know, like it's definitely not tight because they fucking drag it. So they basically had a TV episode's worth of shit and
dragged it out,
made it into a feature film.
Yep. All right, we move on to the next scheme, which is, I think this is what's happening. He tries to land a noose on Arnold, but he catches the wagon instead and gets pulled off a cliff.
Oh, wait a second. There's a campfire conversation between Ann-Margret and Arnold.
Yep. Sorry. So I'm going to skip over. Like I said, I'm going to do the schemes, and if you have anything else to say,
cool.
like that's It's just the same joke over and over. So
Yeah, the only comment with that was she tries to hit on him again, and I just love how he pretty much runs away when she tries to seduce him. He's like, "I'm gonna go get some firewood," and just runs off.
Yeah.
It's like such an Aaron move. Oh man.
mm-hmm.
Or a Joe move, apparently. Young Joe, now Joe, who knows? Same thing with Aaron. I don't know. You get nervous enough, you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, no, that it wasn't a nervous thing for me. It was just
Yeah, for sure.
like,
I mean,
what?
for me.
You wanted to bang? I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, same. Anyway, that's all.
All right. There's some stuff with the Native American characters who I don't think I've mentioned yet. Paul Lynde plays the native chief, like the chief of the local Native American tribe. He's doing this weird, he can't decide if he wants to do the racist accent or not. Like he keeps switching back. Like sometimes he's doing the racist accent and other times it's just
being
Paul Lynde in a headdress.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing. And just like at one point he asks one of the other natives, he's like, "You want to Indian wrestle?" And I was like, "Have you ever heard it called Indian wrestling?" I had no idea that's
What was he talking about?
like arm wrestle. Do you want to arm wrestle?
Oh.
But he says, "Do you want to Indian wrestle?" I've just never heard
Well,
anybody call it that.
Yeah, that's when they sit on the ground cross-legged and then arm wrestle.
Really?
You're not wide enough. That's the problem.
That's true.
Like, they call it crisscross applesauce now, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
used to be
Indian style. Yeah. I know
Indian
that's
style.
I know about sitting like that, but I've just never called it. I've never heard arm wrestling called Indian wrestling. The next one is that he tries to roll an obviously paper mache boulder onto the wagon, but it misses. And then as he's trying to figure out what happened, again, Wile E. Coyote style, the boulder comes back down the road and tries and squishes him instead.
Which actually didn't look too bad. Like that one was it was kind of like it was slow, but it
Again, aside from
fun.
the fact that the boulder was so obviously paper mache.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That one was decent.
No, yeah, that one was fine.
And then my next note is like it's not really a scene, but it's just after that bit, he is trying to ride ahead of them so he can do another bit. And I just think it's really funny that the horse trips in that scene. It's like he's just riding. It's not a joke. It's just that the horse trips. And I was like, you think the horse is pissed off that they used the footage of him tripping in the final cut? like, what the fuck, dude? We could have taken that one again. I don't know.
I thought you just thought it was funny because you're like, fuck horses.
No, I just think it's very funny that it ends up in the final cut. It's like, you could have taken 2 seconds to film that
That's
again.
what I'm saying. It makes sense because if that was the case, they would have had footage, like they would have fixed all the other stuff in that.
Yeah.
Like the edits.
That's why I didn't win the Academy Award,
There you go.
which is the Oscars for horses and other animals as well.
Yeah. And you didn't even have to explain that joke. That was, I like that one.
Thank you. That was just off the top of my dome.
Academy. I'm trying to think.
Academy.
Name awards.
Yeah.
The next scheme, at this point I was like, Jesus Christ, they actually did like beat for beat the Looney Tunes bit.
Yeah.
I was like, I was thinking earlier in the movie they might do this, but I was like, there's no way they're gonna do this one. But he literally paints a tunnel on a fucking rock wall and then changes the sign. Arnold and Charming follow the sign. He watches them ride through the painted on tunnel in the rock wall, and then he tries to go through it and hits the wall.
Yeah.
So this actually changes the entire context of the movie because before it was like based in realism. Obviously,
Yes.
there's a little like kind of gravity thing going on, but this brings it in more like a magic.
Yeah.
Like a
even
cartoon.
fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally a fantasy now. It's literally a cartoon.
Yeah. It's just so strange that they decided this late in the movie to finally fully commit to it
Yeah.
and go like full on cartoon.
It's such a weird choice. I don't know. It's just weird.
I love that the gag was included. I just wish it would have been executed a little better. Just like
Yeah.
only the like speed, just speeding up the footage
Yes.
so it looks like Kirk Douglas slams into the mountain
Exactly.
at full force, because the way he does it now just kind of looks like a less funny version of someone running into a pole when they're looking at their phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which is always
is
funnier
funny.
than that, but it is. Because I've done that before, but it was, I was walking out of work and a coworker was walking in and I like turned around and yelled something at him. Like, yeah, well, have fucking fun at work. And then bam, slammed into a fucking pole like right afterwards. I was like, son of a bitch. Looked like an asshole, but it was funny.
My favorite one was I was in the Mission District here, and there was this little guy like handing out like flyers or whatever, and this chick was on her phone. I was like, nah, and then she's like, nah, but she was on her phone, and there's like the awnings that go over restaurants, but they had like the little pole on the side, and we both, like him and me, both stopped and like watched her, like like turned her head at the same time. She ran right into it, and he's like,
All right.
If I wasn't so lazy, I'd attempt to read at the movie to like even out the tone a little more, just to speed stuff up,
Yeah.
cut stuff, try to. But I'm lazy.
Yeah,
anyway.
that's a lot of work. Next scheme, he does a. Sorry.
Take a small break.
Oh, you want to take a break?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or just
I'll
a bathroom
pee.
break.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to head to the outhouse real fast, but don't you go nowhere because we'll be back to finish off the second half of the movie as well as do all that important stuff at the end. But until then, keep your head up and your horse straight. That's something cowboys say, right?
Sie at the Party Richter!
If you enjoy our show, please consider giving us a positive review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast app of choice. Y'all can follow us on Instagram at The Potty Richter to make sure you never miss an episode. See You at the Potty Richter is a production of Tape Deck Media. Follow Tape Deck on Instagram at TapeDeck_media or look us up on Facebook for more hilarious podcasts.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.